Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about TwitchCon once again and the absolute disaster happening over there and the continued fallout since the Emiru situation. But we're also going to talk about Hasan Piker. Now, it's been a few days since we've talked about Collargate, but welcome back because it's continued. This photo right here is just as ridiculous as it presents itself. It's been a very weird week for Hasan. There's been a lot of memes, including AI edits like this song. It's really funny, but again, as I always say, like, it's not that funny because the subject is, of course, potential animal abuse, and, well, he's been crashing out. Hasan has been fully crashing out. I guess he didn't like this still image of himself because he really went off the rails. He made it very clear that he is black-pilled, that he hates absolutely everything, including his political allies. He hates everything. The dude is feeling the heat, and it's hilarious to watch.
I can't stand any of you dumb goddamn chat. Oh my God, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. You did it. You have unlocked the nihilism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never going to make it out. We can't even have a normal, non-hostile goddamn conversation on any of these issues. Everybody just simply wants to chirp into the wind because they have no power, and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we fuck under. And the best possible fuck you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? I want to just shut it off, dude. I want to shut everything off. I just want to go away. If I wasn't so goddamn stubborn, I would have a long time ago. Oh my Lord, dude. I 100% think you should someday go on sub-only mode. What do you mean? The most annoying people are literally like the 40-month subscribers.
You're upset right now. Hasan Piker is saying he's black-pilled, and you're upset right now. You got nothing to worry about in life. This dude is actually feeling the heat, as I was saying, but there's a lot going on with Hasan. Now, I showed you this image just a minute ago where he's walking around at what I believe is a No Kings protest, joining the unemployed here to bravely walk down the street. I find this whole thing to be very, very ridiculous. So this guy right now is facing allegations that he is abusing his dog. So what does he do? He goes to an event where he feels apparently so unsafe, he has to wear a bulletproof jacket, but also brings his dog. This isn't like a service animal or anything like that. He brought his dog needlessly, like as a prop. So again, he feels so unsafe he has to wear a bulletproof jacket, but he brings his dog with him as well. Interesting stuff. Well, during this, there's this funny clip that is making the rounds on social media where some of his fans approach Hasan, and he seems mortified. In fact, when they shake his hand, watch him instinctively wipe it off on his shirt. He's completely disgusted, but like, dude, these are the fans you have cultivated. No wonder he's nervous. Like, he understands some of the crazies in his midst, okay? So I don't think it's too surprising that he has this reaction to fans approaching him. I mean, he literally looks startled there for a second. But of course, well, things are getting worse. Just like anything else with Hasan in this Collargate situation, it keeps getting worse. So there's another resurfaced clip from years back. You might recognize this particular dog. This is the one where he pulled it by its tail, which is super dangerous, by the way. But people saw a still image from one of the related clips of this dog where it appears to be wounded. It has an open wound on its neck, likely from a collar being too tight, or in this case, sharp and jagged, which is another terrible look for this guy. On top of that, the maker of the collar in question that was used on his dog Kaya, the educator collar, the maker has reached out to people asking, hey, we have the screenshot of the streamer Hasan who used this device over here. Is that your product? And they said, yup, it looks like it. So that's also bad. On top of that, people like Ethan Klein are pointing out another resurfaced old clip where it appears that Hasan used a shock collar on his dog once again. And you can see remember the original clip where this whole drama and controversy started? This looks eerily similar. So let's watch this, right? He'll mute his mic, press something, Kaya reacts, and then lays down in the bed.
Trump was potentially going to use to potentially put pressure on Jordan's king to try and take in more Palestinians, correct? I mean, that's what we've heard from Trump.
Does that not look familiar? This is literally what happened only a few weeks ago.
To try and take in more Palestinians, correct? I mean, that's what we've heard from Trump.
He reaches off screen, presses something, Kaya jumps, and then retreats back to her bed where she is a prop for Hasan to use for his streams. Pretty bad stuff, guys. I'm waiting for the Hasan orbiters to find a way to explain how this is not suspicious, how this is not proof of anything, that in fact, this might be Zionist propaganda, especially coming from Ethan Klein. This is all a hoax. In fact, this clip might not even be real. Well, they've tried everything at this point, but of course, Hasan is not taking accountability. He says he is in some small way for, I guess, his initial reaction and not checking on Kaya when she yelped. But man, even some of the Hasan heads, as they're called, the long-term subscribers, they're done.
Oh my God. I'm a Hasanabi head, but why is this so hard for you to apologize that you did your pet wrong, brother, and you're going to do better in the future? It would help you and it would strengthen the trust and relationship with your reviewers if you apologize for your mistakes. No, that is a Hasanabi head. That's like legitimately a long-term community subscriber who seemingly hasn't seen me take accountability for not immediately going over to Kaya to check in on her. That is true. But I did take accountability for that. Now, if you want me to take accountability for being a dog abuser, well, then that's not accountability. That's just me agreeing to the insane hallucinations.
Yeah, you can see the way he's squirming his way through this entire situation. This is not the first person who is a longtime community member who's had enough. Again, it's kind of sad it took this whole situation with Kaya and his treatment of dogs over the years to make some people open their eyes, but that's where we're at, and some people really are done with Hasan after years of supporting him. But taking accountability, Hasan has an answer. He has an answer to not only his own plights, but also the TwitchCon situation. The answer, the blame for all this lies in whose hands? Tectone. Yup, it's Tectone's fault. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always someone else's fault. It's always the same people he blames for everything. I also believe he blamed Destiny for some of the stuff happening at TwitchCon. I mean, the guy will literally blame anything on his enemies. And, well, Hasan has directly labeled Tectone at fault for what happened at TwitchCon, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with him. And of course, he calls him a rape tone, which is something that he has slandered Tectone with. In case you don't know the context, about a year ago, an ex of Tectone accused him of being an abuser, but she presented literally zero evidence and never even filed any sort of report that ended up with a charge. So there's nothing to really base any of these claims on, as we know right now. But people like Hasan, they heard one of their enemies, one of their critics, being hit with an accusation, and he just believes it. And now not only slanders the guy, but also blames him for what's happening at TwitchCon.
I would say that the overwhelming majority of collaborations were positive back in the day. And now the overwhelming majority of collaborations are forced upon people with drama and with like sometimes severe allegations being used as simple drama. And while people were clout chasing back then too, because that's just like a normal aspect of how these things work, the clout chasing was still controlled through this social mechanism, this social enforcement. Like, I do not think that there would be a rape tone style content creator back then, or if there was, I don't think that they would have had any, like everyone should be like, no, that's fucking bullshit. Like every content creator would in unison come out and be like, dude, you are fucking gross. Get the fuck here. Twitch used to ban partners for harassing other partners. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I forgot. Twitch used to literally ban partners for harassing other partners. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that right now? Think about that. That would be like 90% of top content creators would be banned off the platform if that was still enforced to any degree.
Yep, sounds about right. So he's coming up with his own little theory here about clout chasing and how the social structure of Hasan and his circle used to weed people like Tectone out. It's all projection, and it's all just, again, hammering away at accusations to label someone as guilty without even hearing any of the evidence or any charges. All that stuff completely missing, but it's enough for Hasan to feel comfortable enough accusing someone of a heinous crime. But let's go back to TwitchCon. So we talked about TwitchCon over the past 2 days. So it's been underway in San Diego. I actually just wrapped up last night. And there's been a lot going on. People, male and female, claiming to be sexually assaulted during this convention. And the main thing people are talking about is Emiru, a very popular streamer who was assaulted live on stage. This is the clip. Guy just walks in and just grabs her and tries to kiss her. And it's been an absolute mess. Twitch came out with a statement. They were hit with a note because they try to claim that they followed through on everything and were cooperating and everything's been handled. But in reality, the dude literally just casually walked out of the venue. And to make things even weirder, he received a 30-day ban on Twitch initially. I believe it's permanent now because Emiru spoke out against it. But they knew who this guy was. They knew enough to find his Twitch account and ban him for 30 days. But they didn't, number one, permaban him, at least initially. And also they didn't file anything with local law enforcement. I mean, what are we doing? This is an absolute mess. But then again, you start looking around at the leadership, Mr. Dan Clancy, who's always thinking about the safety of women at his events. This clip, I cannot get enough of this clip. It makes me laugh every single time. What is old man doing here? What? He just yeets this girl. Like, what are we even doing, man? But there was someone else who came out and questioned Dan Clancy because he had an open Q&A the other day. And this streamer, American Dad, a veteran, by the way, would ask him some hard questions, mainly pertaining to comments made by Hasan Piker, as well as some of his orbiters like Frogan, and basically saying, as a veteran, why are you allowing these things to happen on your platform? And here was Dan Clancy's answer to that question.
Hello, Dan. I've been streaming on Twitch for 9 years. I've been a partner for a long time. But another thing that I am is I'm a U.S. veteran, served in the Army, deployed to Afghanistan. Veterans are a protected group on Twitch. So I was just wondering, I've heard comments about the United States deserve 9/11, PTSD, veterans deserve that. When are we going to start holding other streamers accountable for stuff like that, regardless of social status?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you for the question. Really appreciate what you've done and all that. And you use certain examples, and some of those examples led to enforcement, right? It's always a very tricky process because part of what we need to do is have a set of community guidelines, and we do have a team that works very hard to consistently apply them. The views of individuals aren't necessarily the views of our platform. We're at a time where people sometimes can talk in hyperbole, right? Unfortunately, and this happens on all sides of the political spectrum. And so that's something that we have our guidelines. We apply them consistently. I understand you may disagree with some of those decisions, right? And I always say one of the nice things about Twitch is it's a platform where if you disagree with the views of somebody, it's not appearing in your feed, it's not appearing in what you're doing, it has nothing to do with your experience. And that's not necessarily true with short form content. Sure. There's all sorts of stuff that appears in my feed And so part of this is trying to make sure you can find what is the right experience for you on Twitch, both as a streamer and also as a community.
Thank you for answering. I mean, you can see the squirming, right? This guy was ducking any chance of a real answer to this man's question. Dan Clancy is afraid to answer what's being asked here because the truth makes him look bad. And the push to have something happen here with Dan Clancy in this platform, which, as I stated the other day, which is still not profitable, something's got to be done. Like, this guy is running this company into the ground, and he can't even answer basic complaints from people who have an interest as a veteran, a protected status, or what's supposed to be a protected status on Twitch, which is not protected because people like Frogan can say they deserve PTSD, Hasan can say America deserved 9/11, all these crazy things, and it goes completely unchecked. And of course, Dan Clancy doesn't want to answer anything because it makes him look bad. In fact, here's a clip from TwitchCon where Dan Clancy is talking to this guy, and I can't play it because it's got copyrighted music in the background, but basically this guy implies that the CEO of Kick needs to be fired upon, I guess is a way of saying it. And when he hears that, Dan Clancy dabs him up. What? It's absolutely insane behavior. It's coming from the top. It's not just these streamers who are saying crazy stuff. He's responding to crazy stuff. And seemingly he's like very celebratory of hearing these sorts of insane comments, these violent comments coming from people on his platform. In fact, he seems to have energy for that, but as pointed out here, some people who are Twitch partners went on their Prime Video channel and said simply, "Free Kaya." Let's bring it back to Hasan, and they would be timed out. Interesting. On top of that, there's another clip making the rounds this morning where a Twitch partner at TwitchCon who attended is calling for a civil war in the United States. This is the stuff that goes on at Twitch. This person will not receive any punishment. I mean, they were literally trying to egg on and push for a civil war in the United States. And they just freely attend TwitchCon and are a partner on the platform. It's absolutely crazy. But we see some interactions here between Asmongold and Legal Mindset where basically Asmongold saying it's crazy that Twitch just lied about protecting creators from sexual violence, and there's a video that proves they're not upholding their end of their bargain of what they're trying to claim. And the fact that an Amazon-owned company actively tried to cover up an assault should be a bigger story than it is, and I believe that 100%. This should be a massive scandal. An Amazon-owned company that generates billions of dollars, but no profit, by the way, had a situation like this happen where they're trying to actively cover up an assault live on Twitch, and they're just, no one cares. Because I guess it doesn't fit whatever agenda some of these journalists and what have you want to cover. But Legal Mindset says, just had a nice chat with a friendly Amazon employee over dinner. They made it clear that Jeff Bezos is more interested in competing with Elon Musk over the size of his rocket rather than policing Twitch. So legal action may be the only option, which is a very sad reality. But let's go back to Hasan for a second, because the rhetoric has not slowed down. In fact, his rhetoric has gotten even more dangerous and slanderous, and Asmongold has some recommendations, and I think it's very fair. But will Hasan listen? No.
Doesn't have the same energy for people that he knows.
Because they weren't convicted. And you shouldn't be calling them as if they did the things that they're being accused of. I think he's really, like, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, this is honest advice to Hasan. The fact is, and this is the case with me too, we are getting into a position where he and I are both very, very successful in our careers. He is very successful, and I think that I am too. That is also a problem, because people will see people like us say something, and they will try to dissect it, and figure out a way that they can sue us. Hasan needs to watch out by saying this random stuff and going off and coming up with these names about people and saying this stuff, because eventually you're going to run yourself into a defamation lawsuit. And it doesn't matter how many Twitter orbiters you have and how many people you ban in chat. Whenever you're sitting there in the courtroom being accused of defamation or lying about somebody, it's not going to matter whether there's a genocide going on. It's not going to matter whether, what his dad did. It's not going to matter any of these other bullshit accusations. What's going to matter really is Zionist. Is this person took money from Israel or something. It's ridiculous. And you're going to and I think really he should look at, really, I mean, he will not admit this publicly, but take a step back and think about it, Do you think that you handled the dog collar thing very well? I think the answer to that probably is no, you really didn't. And I think that the way that you've dragged it on and everything else, you've brought other people into it as well, this has not helped you.
So yeah, I think that's really going to do it for today's updates on the Collargate situation as well as the TwitchCon situation. And before we go, I want to remind you guys, I have this huge drop going on right now with Advanced, where we had a whole bundle of stuff that dropped, but mainly we have this new flavor jar. I've done flavor jars in the past, but this one's special because I actually tested it out with the team, chose my own flavor, and it's going to be a permanent staple on the website. It's my Jolly Pop energy flavor jar. It gives you the same energy as your traditional energy drinks or pre-workout or stuff like that without the crash associated with those other options. It's a blue raspberry flavor. You can see my vtuber model on the jar. It's really cool stuff. I can't recommend Advanced enough. They also released some new hoodies featuring my designs here, and these are in limited quantity. There's about 100 of each of these before they are completely sold out. On top of that, we also have this new Senpai shaker. I'm the third one to ever get one on their website. This new plastic shaker, it looks awesome. Very cool stuff. Again, a limited quantity of these as well, so make sure you act fast. And no matter what you do, whether you get individual buys or you bundle and save, just make sure to use code REV to get 10% off your total Advanced order. Thank you guys for the support. It's been absolutely crazy. We're already in the triple digits in terms of just orders alone, not just items, but orders, which is really, really cool. And I can't thank you guys enough for the support on this campaign and all my campaigns. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.